Yo, what is happening, guys? Nathan back once again with another episode of the Unplugged Freedom Podcast. And as you can see, just had a nice, beautiful hike this morning. But I wanted to talk about a post that I made a couple of weeks ago, and that was talking about Russia and why I myself would stand with Russia. Now, in a situation like this, you don't have to take sides, okay? You don't have to be one for one side or the other side. But what you should be, at least, is informed, an informed person, an informed individual. Just like how those people, they're not anti anything. They're just an informed individual. I'm not for war. I'm just an informed individual. And so I want to talk a little bit more about why I would say something like I stand with Russia. Now, in order for you to be able to understand as to why I would say something like that, you have to understand a few key elements. And those elements are, you have to know and understand that the media lies. You have to know and understand that the government lies. Corporations lie. The entertainment industry, Hollywood, lies. You have to understand that the CIA has infiltrated the media, such as Disney, Hollywood, Netflix, anything. Stand-up comedians like Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, all these things. People like Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, all these kinds of entertainment people. Because if you don't understand that the media lies, governments lie, entertainment industry lies, all these different things, if you don't understand that, then you'll never understand why someone like myself would say that I stand with Russia. So if you don't care to understand those things, then you might as well just not watch this video. So there's so many pieces to this puzzle, it's absolutely wild. People have no idea. People who I thought were cool because they were all against the whole narrative of the 2020, stuff, and what the media was doing and how they were lying and how they were just coming out with just spewing absolute lies. People who were against that and who saw that, people who I thought were cool, it was almost as if a switch just turned on and all of a sudden they just started believing the media. Whatever the media was saying about this whole situation, they just started going with it. And I thought that was so fascinating. I thought that was so interesting. But I can understand it. I can't be mad at these people. But I can understand it, and here's why I understand it. In the entertainment industry like Hollywood, basically what they have done for years upon years, is they have drip fed into people's minds this ideology that Russians are bad. They have made people believe that Putin is the bad guy. Now, I'm not saying he's perfect, okay? But I'm saying I'd rather follow him into war than our guy right now. And this is coming from somebody who spent time in the Canadian military. I had a friend actually from this town who passed away, not in Afghanistan. Luckily enough, he made it back and made it back to Canada to see his family. And then he passed away. I was in basic training with him. So somebody who was in the Canadian military is standing here telling you that I would much rather stand behind fucking Putin in a time of war than my own prime minister. Now, why would I say that? So the entertainment industry, this is what they've done over the years. They've just drip fed these ideas, these beliefs, these things into people's mind, and a lot of it about Russia. So think of a movie that you're watching, okay? Whatever movie. They can be new movies. They can have Vin Diesel. They can have The Rock. They can have Mary Poppins. They can have whatever it is. They can be a Disney movie. They can be anything. Now, when you think of whenever a Russian is portrayed in a movie, is it ever the friendly Russian neighbor? Is it ever them? No, not really. It's usually what? What comes to mind when you think of a Russian? Do you know why there's something that comes to mind just like that when you think of a Russian? When you hear that stereotypical Russian accent, do you know why there's something that immediately just hits you? That's because that's been programmed into you over the years, drip-fed without you even knowing it. Back in the day, what they used to do is they used to have to take people and strap them down and brainwash them that way. But nowadays, they don't have to do that. They don't have to chain people up in chains to enslave them. People are enslaving themselves. People are buying brand new trucks every single day, enslaving themselves. People are brainwashing themselves by sitting down and consuming whatever information is coming at them through the big black box on their TV. So the days of chaining people up are gone. The days of brainwashing these people against their will, those days are gone. Today's day, people willingly enslave themselves. In today's day, people willingly brainwash themselves. And it's I always say it's a beautiful system as to what they've created. Unfortunately, it's too bad that they've used it for evil. So when you're watching a movie, you're watching a TV show, and a Russian is portrayed. Just trying to move this. And a Russian, just want to make sure that this is still going. Okay. A Russian is portrayed. They're usually the bad guy. They're usually the enemy. They are, if they're not, the women are usually sexualized in a way. The men, if the men are on the good guy side, like for example in X-Men, the Russian in that movie, he's the big, dumb, strong guy. That's who he is. So this is what has happened over the years. Russians, okay? I dated a Russian girl a few years ago, and do you know when you buy a new vehicle, let's say you bought a Jeep, and then all of a sudden you see that Jeep everywhere? Did everybody just go out and buy a Jeep, or what happened there? That's called your RAS, Reticular Activating System. Don't quote me on that, but it's called your RAS. Basically, right now, there's a million things going on. There's sounds going on down there. There's the light that's going on. There's the coldness. There's the feeling between under my feet. There's cars driving by. There's a lot of things that are happening right now. There's a million things. There's smells. There's everything. Now, if you were to focus on everything that was happening in this very moment, your mind would be pretty much like explode. So your RAS takes things that are important to you, and it says, hey, this is important, we should pay attention to this. So if you smell something that is maybe from a childhood memory, you'll notice that. You'll notice that over maybe the smell of a burning tire. If somebody off in the distance were to say my name right now, because my name is important to me, my brain says, if you hear this, make sure we pay attention to it. So our RAS basically just filters a million things and makes sure that only certain things are put through our mind that are important to us. Now, the reason that I bring this up is because over the years, I've always noticed Russians in movies. So going back to RAS and what's noticing, when you're driving a Jeep, you see that Jeep everywhere. So when I was dating this Russian girl, we would watch movies all the time, go to the movies, and these were new movies because we'd go to the movies because it was so cheap in Bali. So many movies, so many TV shows. I knew it before, but I didn't know to what effect it was. How many movies, TV shows, and how many times they portrayed Russians as the bad guys, the evil characters. Always with that stereotypical accent. And guess what? What happens is when you hear that stereotypical accent, boom, your mind triggers to a certain character. Now, this is easily seen when we think of a terrorist. After 2001, when somebody said the word terrorist, what did you envision in your mind? Why is that? It's because that was programmed into you. That wasn't your own research and mind telling you, hey, this is what a terrorist looks like. That is what was programmed into you to make you believe. So that when you were walking down the road and you saw someone in a burqa, when you saw someone who had a certain type of dress on, you reacted in a certain way. That's because that was programmed into you. Systematic racism. And so here's another great example. I'm not proud of this one, but I'm able to recognize it, okay? This is how deep the programming goes. I'm not saying I'm immune to brainwashing and programming, but this is how deep it goes. I was watching a movie, I think a year or two ago, and what happened was the movie was called Us. It was a scary movie. The main characters of the movie were black. I remember watching the movie, and the movie was okay. It was a pretty decent movie. But you know what I didn't like about the movie? Coming from a colored person myself, okay, I didn't like that the main characters were black. Now, before you jump down my throat at that, I want to just tell you as to why. Because that's the programming that has been ingrained with us. We are told what is beautiful. We are told what is sexy. We are told that if you are not of this status, then you are less of a human being. We are told all these things. For the longest time, white people were always the main characters. The stereotypical, the black guy comes in and guess what? He dies. Dave Chappelle talked about this a while ago, and Oprah tried to make him sound like he was crazy. Dave Chappelle said that all the black people in Hollywood, there was always a point where they tried to demasculize these guys, put him in a dress, whatever. Just, they came out when he was getting huge. They said, hey, we just got this skit. You're going to put this dress on. He said, no, I'm not. And then after that, after he started to see what was happening in Hollywood, he then took off and went to Africa after being offered $50 million. Now, most people would love to be offered $50 million. But the thing is that at what cost? Cost of your dignity, your integrity, your character, who you are as a person, what you stand for. I lost my job back in November. 6-figure job I walked away from. I could have easily walked into a clinic. I could still too today because I'm still hired by them. I could walk into any one of these clinics in this city, get all juiced up, and walk right back into a 6-figure job. But I don't. Because I have integrity. I have dignity. I have self-respect. I stand up for what I believe in. And so many people, they don't do that. So, over the years, this brainwashing has been happening to people, telling people what Russians are. Even though they've never spoken to a Russian before, they've never been friends with a Russian before, anything that they know about Putin, anything they know about Russia has either come from the entertainment industry, like movies, or it's come from the news media, mainstream news media. We know how trustworthy that is. But here's what's really interesting, is that, like I said, it was like a switch just turned on. And all of a sudden, people who I thought were cool, people who were seeing the lies and the propaganda and the bullshit from the previous shit, they just started following suit. They were just like, Russia's bad, Putin's bad, you know, like it's just like the switch turned on. It kind of reminded me of like the book Divergent, or maybe even the movie if you've seen it. In that movie, what they do is they give everybody a shot. And only the divergents are not affected by it. And the next thing you know, everybody's just controlled. They're telling everybody what to do. And so you'll see in my past videos, past podcasts, I will have talked about cause and effect. We cannot go to war with Russia without a good cause. And so, what's a good cause to go to war with Russia? Well, they're picking on, big bad Russia's picking on Ukraine. We gotta save them. If you knew what Ukrainians were doing to their own people, you'd know why Russia was in there. It's crazy what's happening in there. Absolutely crazy. So for years, this propaganda, this brainwashing has been happening. And all of a sudden, all they did was just turn a little switch on. And all that brainwashing clicked right in for people. Just, Russia's bad. Putin's bad. Go to war. And I'm standing there like, the fuck just happened to you guys? I thought you were cool. I thought you guys were cool. But you weren't. Now, I can't get mad at these people. You know, as much as I wish people did have that ability to look for themselves and to be able to make decisions for themselves, I don't know. Because it comes so easy to me, I expect other people to be able to do it, to be able to see it. See, when I watch a movie, I watch it differently. I watch it objectively. I watch it in a way where I'm kind of thinking, what kind of message are they portraying here? Actually, just to tell you the other day, a couple of weeks ago, my friend, I was telling him about this whole, what they do in the entertainment industry with Russia. And so he watches a lot of movies. I walk in on one day, he's got a movie on. I'm like, yo, what are you watching? And I look up. Guess what was on the screen the moment I walked in the fucking room? Putin's on the screen. And this was a new movie. This was like, I can't remember who was in it. I think The Rock was in it. I don't know. It was a newer movie. Fucking Putin's on. I'm like, dude, I told you, man. The fucking Russians, man. Like, oh my God. And so, it's just crazy. So, that's why I would stand with Russia. Now, you don't have to. Like I said, you don't have to take sides. You don't have to be on any side. Okay? But at least be educated. At least know and recognize brainwashing when you see it. And the next time you watch a movie, don't sit there and be consumed in the movie. Watch it objectively. And try to ask yourself, what is the message that they are trying to portray here? I live in a town here. Well, actually, you know, I'm here temporarily. This is where I grew up, actually. It's actually kind of funny here. I think it's hilarious, okay? A lot of women here, if you're a certain type of guy, you got your sneakers, you got your jeans, you got your beard, you got your flannel shirt. Maybe not a flannel shirt, but you got a hoodie, right? And a truck, okay? Let's top it off with the truck. You got that, you're fucking styling, okay? You're fucking like, just like beating women off your truck, okay? Now, why is that? It's because of programming, okay? It's because of programming. People don't have the ability to be able to think for themselves. And so, programming is in everything. You know, I'm susceptible to it. Marketing, there's a reason why companies spend billions upon billions of dollars each year, is because marketing is a form of brainwashing. And when you understand this, the more free that you become. Because marketing is a lot of psychology. You stir up emotion, put in your product. Emotion, put in your product. You can also do it the other way. Stir up negative emotion, and then put in a picture of Putin. Negative emotion, Putin. Or Trump, whatever you want to do. And so, this town here is, it's an interesting little town. You know, someone like myself who thinks like myself, let's just say I don't necessarily fit into a town like this. No. Walking around yesterday without a mask on and just like the people are fucked. But yeah, so anyways, what I want you to do is the next time you watch a movie, watch it objectively. There's a couple of movies that you can watch. Watch, what's that one movie? Out of Shadows, great documentary. Tells you how the CIA infiltrated the entertainment industry. And you'll understand as to why they would do that. Because you'll always hear me say, if you control the input, you control the output. So everybody has a TV. I bet you I could go into most of these people's houses, they have at least one TV. At least. They got TVs in their kitchen, they got TVs in their bedroom, they got TVs everywhere. But the thing is that you have to watch movies and TV shows objectively. Because what are you going to get? You're going to get all these messages that you have no idea. If you're consumed in a movie, you're getting subliminal messages put into you, subliminal ideas, so that when the governments and corporations are ready to just turn on that switch, Putin is bad, Russia's bad, go to war. We should not be going to war at all. We should be supporting what they are doing. Anyways, I'm not going to get into that. It's a huge fucking topic. But the next time you watch a movie, watch The Truman Show. The Truman Show is a really good show. Really good movie with Jim Carrey. Watch that one. But watch movies objectively. When you listen to the news, listen to it objectively. What propaganda are they putting out? What message are they putting out? What do they want people to think and believe? I always listen to the news, and then when I'm walking around into a public, especially at like a place like this, I'll listen to the conversations that people are having. And it's really interesting. I can hear the correlation, how they parrot what they heard on the news to what they're saying to their friends. And so it's really interesting. It's a beautiful system. Like I always say, it's a beautiful system. But listen to the news objectively. It's okay, but listen to the news objectively. What are they trying to get you to believe? What are they trying to get you to think? Watch movies objectively. I see so much propaganda and shit and like the ideas that they put into people's minds. The TV show You, it was actually a really good TV show. It was. Until the third season, where they started putting all this propaganda about anti-people. And so that just totally ruined it for me. Survivor is going very woke, as you could say. What was I watching yesterday? Bel Air. You know, the new Fresh Prince of Bel Air series. There's a bunch of woke stuff in there. And so it's unfortunate. But you can see it. When you watch it objectively, you're much less susceptible to be influenced by these ideas and thoughts and beliefs that are trying to be instilled upon you. And that's why you'll always hear me say, you always need to audit your beliefs, audit your ideas and your thoughts. Why do I believe this? Why do I believe that I want to have kids? Why do I believe that I need to be in a relationship? Why do I believe that I need to be married and sail off into the sunset with my Prince Charming? If people actually took the time to answer these deeply ingrained questions, a lot of them, I bet you would find out that they come all back to the movies of Disney. You sit a child down, a child comes into this world, they're a sponge, they're looking to you as the parent. How do I function in this world? And parents sit them down and turn this Disney movie on, and what are they seeing in the Disney movie? If you actually watch a Disney movie and you see what basically you're putting into the mind of that child, the child is taking this in and just saying, okay, so that's my purpose in life, to wait for Prince Charming to sweep me off my feet, to be nothing, to just be an object, to be nothing of value. And I'm sorry to pick on women here, but it's just such a easy example when you can understand these concepts. So when you put a child, and like my parents had Disney movies like out the yin yang, you put a child in front of this and they're just programming, just putting it into their mind. And then when they grow up and they're single and they're just struggling and they're you can hear it in the words that they say. I've heard women say that they're suffering because they're not in a relationship. I'm like, suffering? Wow, that's a strong word. But my point is, you have to be able to question things. Audit your own beliefs. What I believe today, I may not believe tomorrow. What I believe tomorrow, I may not believe today. And I will always be like that. I will always audit my beliefs. Because I want to be the most genuine self that I am. I don't want to be some marketing. I don't want to be some walking billboard for another company as I wrap my Nike t-shirt. I've had this shirt for a long time, so don't judge me on that, okay? As I wrap my headphones. They're really nice headphones. But my point is that I'm not going out and spending money on things that I don't need. That's my point, okay? I use these every single day. I wore this shirt. I bought this shirt 2016 and 2015, you know, and so my point is that you are you, okay? If you're going to buy a nice truck, there's nothing wrong with buying a nice truck, but don't buy a nice truck because you have been brainwashed into thinking that that's what you have to do in order to be a man. In a town like this, do you know how hard it is for a man to not buy a truck? He can't. Because the mindset in a town like this is that you're not a man unless you drive a truck. Like I will always try and picture somebody, like, you know, you got that big gruff truck. You know, Tim the Tool Man Taylor, right? But imagine that guy walking into the dealership and picking out an SUV instead. Or maybe even a car. Heaven forbid a car. You know? Deep down in his soul, he may actually want an SUV. He's like, man, it's much more fucking practical to have an SUV for my what I need. It's much more practical to have a car than this big fucking huge dually. But he won't be cool. Right? The boys won't want to come around and drink beer standing around the truck, you know? If he's got a car, they don't want to do that, right? They want to pop down the tailgate, drink some beers, eat red meat. That's what they want to do. There's nothing wrong with buying a truck. There's nothing wrong with buying a house. There's nothing wrong with having kids. There's nothing wrong with anything. As long as that's what you truly want to do. And that's the hardest thing, is coming to terms with something and saying, I don't want to do this. I drive a car. I've always driven a car. Actually, I drove a truck one time. I've had people say comments, you know, I've driven a $500 vehicle, you know, working a six-figure job, driving a $500 vehicle. People are like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, well, I have nobody to impress. I don't need to impress you, okay? And if you're going to be impressed by some object that I happen to drive, I've driven nice cars before. I've traveled the world. Fucking... If that's how simple-minded you are, then, you know, keep walking. But that's the thing. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with anything. There's nothing wrong with buying nice shoes, buying a nice purse. There's nothing wrong with that. But you have to ask yourself, why are you buying it? Are you buying it? Or is the commercial or the ideology that has been instilled upon you, is that what is driving you to buy it. Think about it, right? When you can unlock that kind of objectiveness, your whole world just becomes free. Anyways, talked about a lot of things. I could really go forever on any of these topics here. At the end of the day, what I want for people is for people to be themselves. In a town like this, you would be shocked by how many people are just the same. They're just the same. Nobody really thinks for themselves. They, the marketing, the propaganda, all that kind of stuff. It's just the same, right? Overnight, they went from this thing to war in Russia, and everybody just crazy. So, anyways, hope you got something out of this. Watch movies objectively. What message are they trying to put into your mind? What are they trying to see? And now, your RAS, okay, when you watch movies and TV shows, you'll probably see and recognize that Russians are so often in there, and you will see that they're always portrayed as bad people. Even in the new Mary Poppins, they were. I was just shocked at that. Just disgusting what these people do. Anyways, I gotta get going. I'll talk to you guys later. All right.